I mentioned just a moment ago that we have a variety of different layer types. There's all sorts of different kinds of layers that we can make use of here inside Photoshop. And what we're looking at right now inside the layers panel is what I would call standard or normal Photoshop layers. And the other thing that I wanted to make you aware of is that there's a variety of ways to go about creating new layers inside Photoshop. So what I want to show you here is probably the simplest way to go about creating a new layer. We already know that we can create a new layer by dragging one image into another image, like we did with our clouds. But here's another way to go about creating a new layer. I'm going to make sure that I have clouds selected, and then all the way down at the bottom of the layers panel, we have a tiny page icon. And when I get this tooltip appearing on screen, it says create a new layer. So go ahead and click on this guy. And what we'll wind up with is a brand new blank empty layer inside the layers panel. And the layers panel thumbnail is completely filled with that gray and white checkerboard pattern, that transparency, because there's absolutely nothing on layer 1 right now. He's empty, okay? But what I want to do is I want to fill this guy with something. I want to fill him with a white stripe, I've decided. So maybe what I'm actually working on here inside Photoshop, maybe it's going to be a flyer, or maybe it's going to be a postcard or something like this, right? So check this out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go and grab the rectangular marquee tool out of the toolbox. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click and drag out a selection from the left side of my photograph all the way over to the right side, something like this. Okay? I'm not too concerned about the height of the rectangle. And then the next thing that I want to do is I want to fill this rectangular selection with white, with my background color. So here's a neat trick for pulling this off. Try holding down the Command key or Control on the Windows side and hit Delete on your keyboard. And what that will do is that will fill a selection with the background color. While we're at it, holding down Alt or Option and hitting Delete will fill a selection with the foreground color. So obviously here I get black. I'm going to go back to the white fill though, Control or Command Delete. And then what I'll do is I'll deselect Control or Command D on my keyboard. Now, we do have part of our rectangle filled with white, but the other part of our rectangle didn't fill with white because we still have the statue there. What's going on there? Well, check this out. I'm going to tap the V key on my keyboard. This entire rectangle did get filled with white. We just can't see it because it's behind the statue. Okay? So what I can do is I can take this layer that we filled with white, with that white rectangular selection, and I can drag him all the way to the top of the layer stack, bringing him all the way to the foreground of my image, all the way to the front of my image. So again, this almost goes without saying, but objects or layers that appear at the top of the layers panel appear on top of everything else inside my image. Okay, so you may want to take a moment and experiment rearranging your layers to really get a feel for how all this works. And literally all we're doing here is just reorganizing our layers by clicking and dragging up and down inside this stack of layers. So I hope that makes sense for you. Now, before we go any further, I should properly name my new layer here. So I'm going to double click on this guy, and I'm just going to call him White Stripe. How's that? All right. Now, the other thing that I want to show you here really quickly as well is a moment ago I said that I wasn't too concerned about the height of my white stripe. And the reason why I said that is because I know that I can use my free transform at any point in time to go and adjust this guy. So once again, with the white stripe layer selected inside the layers panel, I'm going to hit Controller Command T on my keyboard to get myself into free transform. And then what I can do is I can start monkeying around and playing with this guy and getting him positioned and scaled exactly the way I want. Maybe it's something like this that I'm after. I want to obscure a large portion of the statue, or maybe I want to have a very thin stripe, right? I'm going for, a really nice, unique, pleasing design. Maybe I'm going to have some text in here, or maybe I need to give myself just a little bit of extra space, something like that, for the future text that I'm planning on dropping into this white box. So you can have a little bit of fun there, adjusting and playing around. With your Move tool selected, use the arrow keys on your keyboard to position this guy as well.